Hey everyone, it's Mozart here. So today we have Bitcoin correcting. It's in its green upward channel near the lower boundary, focusing on the monthly R3 pivot, and it seems we don't want to break through yet. Yesterday's breakout was weak. Bears could take the initiative as divergences and reversal patterns form on the 4-hour Bitcoin chart. This is about the short term, not global. Well, it is weak, insufficient, it is there. But from here, in principle, the bears can still seize the initiative, especially since divergences and some reversal patterns are drawn on the 4-hour chart on the Bitcoin. Just to clarify, I'm really talking more about the short term here, not anything global. We closed those two take profits on Bitcoin, and I closed the second one at 103.4. This trade was in the Telegram channel. Here's a full well done. The same goes for Ethereum. I'm glad I closed half of the position. That was also at the mark of $4,043. Repeatedly, it was $3. I transferred the rest without loss. It was knocked out. On today's correction, it's nice to at least leave with half of my positions in profit and break even on the rest. Better than nothing. And now I'd like to set some new limit orders. New limit orders, in this case, on YouTube. I usually give all my signals exclusively in the Telegram channel. If you don't want to miss out on new signals, I recommend subscribing to my Telegram channel. The link is in the description right below this video. But today I'm going to give you two new limit orders as part of the video. That's not very convenient for me. Then I need to make links where I added them. Nobody remembers this and so on. It's easier in Telegram with the hashtags. So here we go. Alright, let's switch to the 4-hour chart. What's the picture looking like for us? First of all, the technical trend has broken down through a double top. Plus, there's a technical break. Plus, we also have this interesting triple divergence on the RSI. There's no divergence on the MACD. No, but the RSI could lead to some lower values. What kind? A lower value, which would be nice for us to test here. It would be nice for us to test what we didn't test on Monday. So on Monday, Bitcoin didn't go down, and we have the nearest gap on the CME at around $100,000, $101,000. Basically, there shouldn't be any problems for the price to close it out. And since we're approaching the Fed meeting, there might be some kind of unloading, after which a normal bull run will start, both in altcoins and everything else. So basically, this level right here. You can also see this level in the horizontal volumes. You can see these spikes here. In the horizontal volumes. Here, you can also see the order blocks. So, basically, let's set up some interesting limit order. Here we have the 30 moving average and in the Bollinger Bands. It might reach the 50th, but it's unlikely. Most likely, it will be limited to 30 if it starts to fall. Plus, there's the lower boundary of a slightly more global white channel, so it might get there, or it might not. Let's set a limit order with some wiggle room, trade within that range. Maybe around this spike. I don't know, just throwing it out there, like right here. Right here. Well, you know how I do it. Sometimes I just open with my hands. If I see the price near the limit order, I write in the Telegram channel, like, I don't wait for the limit, I just open with my hands. This is another reason why you should subscribe to Telegram. Because only there you will see it exactly minute by minute that I wrote it on YouTube. I won't be able to make a video quickly. Guys, no waiting, let's just open up. And yeah, we'll have to set a stop, right? It's gonna have to be a long one. I usually take about 2 order blocks, sometimes 3, 1, 2, 3. So the stop will go somewhere from here, maybe around a certain percentage. A lot, like right here, up to this candle, that's fine. I'll just throw it in roughly here. At the lower boundary of the range, and from there, we'll see if we need to make any changes. I'll take the trade as usual, 1-to-1 in the range. 9 and 4. Well, and somewhere around 100. Yes, with a reserve of 100. Oh, I'm not doing this right. It's 109,900 plus or minus, like a 1-to-1 take profit, even though the target is a bit higher. We'll figure that out later. So, this thing could dip lower, it really could, but for now, let's keep it at 1,708. Entry point for Bitcoin, we set the limit order and forgot about it. Updates will come in Telegram. As for Ethereum, nothing interesting for now, same deal, 30 moving average, 50, 50 is unlikely. The lower boundary of the yellow channel is probably where our nearest levels are, whatever that may be. So, we have a descending channel here, no divergences, heading down to do a retest. Whatever happens, at least 50 on the RSI is the average boundary. Alright, let's set a limit order right here for another spike. Let's say 3,766. Stop. At the minimum of the bearish candle from December 9th, because if we go lower, it's gonna be really bad. I doubt we'll go lower. This is a good, reasonable, clear spike, both technically and fundamentally. It's unlikely we'll go lower. This is a good, reasonable, clear spike, both technically and fundamentally. Alright, we can definitely set it a bit lower, just to have a buffer, because I'm just placing it right on the dot. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Stop. And the most important thing, remember, I say this every time, stops should only be based on the closing of the candle bodies below the red line, not just touching it. It breaks through a lot on touch and then bounces back up. We don't work like that. We only work based on the closing. That's it. If the candle touched but didn't close below the red line, the stop doesn't trigger. You don't need to think about anything else. If you're doing it differently, that's entirely your problem. I say this every time, how it should be done. So, it's a 1-to-1 stop right at the upper boundary. Perfect. Just like that. 111. Let's set it at a nice round number. Nice number. 1-to-1. That's it. Here's the ether. Next. Altos. Total 3. Cryptalization. Cryptos without Bitcoin and without ether. So, this is what we have here. I've actually made a video about this already. We can go and test $1 trillion one more time. It's possible. I wrote about this. We can even dip a little below the 30th Bollinger one more time. After that, we'll most likely head up. Well, we might not go there and just head up right away, for example, after the Fed's rate decision. Both options are practically the same. The most important thing is not to drop below the dump. From December 9th, if we drop below, that's it. You can pretty much consider the alt season over. So, if the corrections continue, I expect it to wrap up in this range. And on top of that, we're testing this previously broken orange descending channel from the top down. We probably won't be testing the red, it's just too low. You can actually delete it. So, usually, this is where the chop happens. Here's the gap, so we're gonna close this gap right now. Alright, somewhere over there. And at $1.3 trillion, the setups aren't changing here. Check out the previous videos. I talked about this, about the alt. Next. What's interesting? That was about the technicals. Alright, everything's laid out. It's all clear. Globally on Bitcoin. We fully worked this out, completely overachieved on this thing. On the bodies. We fully worked it out on the bodies. We even reached a bit above the shadows. Now we can make a correction, and overall, it's still a chop. This is a chop, which is an upward so-called sideways movement, and the overheating on the indicators is being taken off like this. And a new wave of momentum is already starting. Very similar. Looks very similar. Bitcoin almost always does this. Almost always. If we look at how it was last time. An upward sideways movement can sometimes lead to a new impulse, but it can also happen differently, like when there's a sell-off on certain facts. For example, here it was the acceptance of the Bitcoin ETF. It could also be during Trump's time, where we had an upward sideways movement. We sell off, and then we go into a new impulse. So, we might sell off a bit harder, but overall, the idea is the same. It's still a bull market, you can see that. But at the beginning of the year, it wasn't a bull market, not really bullish. April 23rd, another upward sideways movement, impulse. It's better to look at 2021, where it was similar in strength to a bull market. Something like this is happening, where you can look for something similar. But here the slopes were sharper. The bull market was definitely stronger in 2021. So we have an upward sideways movement, impulse, upward sideways movement, impulse. It's going something like this. So here, it's probably going to be pretty much the same. We set the limit order. Yeah, it could dip lower. We can't really guess here. It could, in principle, go down to the lower boundary of this channel and test those lows. Maybe 96. So, if you're really worried and want to hit it exactly, like for sure, you could set a limit order right here, for example, at 98,900, somewhere around there. Then it might hit more accurately. So right here would probably be perfect if it hits 96,500. Then there will be another correction somewhere, around 11%, a normal pullback. You can also set a limit order here. But then you'll have to put a support line right under this consolidation. Like this. I'm just gonna leave it as it is for now. We'll see how it goes from here. I'm trading in a range. If I buy here and then it hits my stop, I reach X2, move the stop, and then sell on the bounce. It's the same profit as if I took it 1-to-1, because here it will be X2. This is standard. I do this all the time. It's the same profit as if I took it 1-to-1, because here it will be X2. But for me, this is just standard practice. I do this all the time. Next up, let's talk about the blockchains. Nothing critical has changed. The hourly funding with averaging over 6 hours has been unloaded again. 0.008. 9 on average across all exchanges. The market isn't longed on average across all exchanges. The amount of stablecoins on the exchange has started to slowly increase again. This is the histogram for the last 30 days, so for the 30-day window, and the total amount of USDT across all exchanges is also steadily increasing. That's a bullish sign. It's definitely a bullish sign. And as long as it's this high, you should buy any correction. There are no other options. You don't even need to guess. USDC. Plus or minus the same on the highs. BUSD, what is that anyway? Well, and DAI is plus or minus twitching there, but the main thing is USDT. This is a bit concerning for me. In the short-term charts, we have a negative divergence, meaning the price is going up, while the indicator keeps drawing lower than the previous one. I don't like that. But at the same time, there are no clear divergences. This divergence is very smooth and gradual. That is, even if there is a spill here, it will not be critical. It will not be a reversal for the trend. Critical trend reversing drops probably happen when there are more pronounced divergences. Well, when there are more pronounced ones. At 21, you gotta pay attention. Here they are. I've already shown them to you in previous videos. Here it is. Here's a critical reversal. A very pronounced divergence. 17 was the cycle before last. The same thing. A much more pronounced divergence than what we have now. Alright. 3. Yeah, 3 peaks on the indicator. Each one is lower than the previous one, but in price, each one is higher than the last. They reversed. Global trend. That's not the case. Right now, we have one global peak. Here it is from November 11th, and then it started a smooth decline, what they call a consolidation. But honestly, the likelihood of further correction right now is pretty high. So, it wouldn't be bad, right, to close those gaps, shave off those 100-point shoulders, unload completely, take the short-term traders out in a small way, and then shoot up from there. Or just stay put while the ice starts to shoot up. That would be the ideal scenario, really. But in any case, this week is going to be crucial. Because, as a rule, seasonally, I've also written about this on Telegram. The last week or two of December and January, especially in election years, are really strong for the higher market. And first and foremost for altcoins, it's really strong. And right now, it makes sense to expect that the trend will continue because we haven't had any other precedents. It's never been any other way. Plus, we've been in the green since September, October, November. No, I apologize, October, November, and December statistically also close in the green, December. For now, we're heading into the green. Well, that's probably all I wanted to say. So, we're waiting for the Fed tonight. Everything will be decided. A rate cut is expected, and there's some kind of gloomy forecast for 2025. Like, well, if anything, guys, we'll lower it. But honestly, I have no idea how Trump's policies are going to play out. I'm talking about Powell. And it seems like our economy isn't doing too badly, even though the PMI came in lower than expected the other day. So, basically, we're probably going to think it over, maybe take a pause and not lower the rates at every meeting. But if needed, we're always ready and can raise it anytime. Here's the general rhetoric for today's meeting. And we'll see how the market reacts to that. And plus, the next 2 days are going to be important in terms of the further decision. Futures are pricing in, I think, a 99% chance of a rate cut today. And probably from today's cut, for today's cut, for today's cut, for. By 0.25%, well, it's already 95.4%. I don't know why, but it's close to 100%. And if they don't cut today, that would be a crash. If there's going to be a crash, then let it crash. So, you really need to keep an eye on it. And if you're in short-term longs, as soon as the notification comes out about what the Fed's rate is, if it stays the same, close all your positions right away. Don't touch the short-term longs, and leave the midterm ones alone. In the midterm, it'll still work out, so that's about the gist of it. Alright, thanks everyone, have a great day, good luck. This was Mozart signing off, and goodbye everyone.